Hi everyone, welcome to the session. So in this session, we are going to start a new topic, which is VMSS. So let's get started. So VMSS would be our topic of the day, and it is also the part of high availability. So if you talk about VMSS, it is virtual machine scale sets. And what does this topic is going to do? So let's talk about it. So basically this is one of the option in Azure which is used for the scaling purpose. So we generally use it for the scaling. And what is the use of this VMSS? So generally what happens if we have some critical servers in the organization, let's say we have 4 servers running as part of a cluster. Let's say this is my first server, then we have the second one, then the third, and the fourth. So we have 4 servers and they are identical. Like this is VM1, this is VM2, 3, and 4. And these 4 virtual machines are running the same workload, the same application as part of a cluster. So they all are in the cluster and they are performing well. We have set it up for the high availability. So the work is getting happening without any issues. But we all know that every hardware has a saturation point. So we are using the VMs in Azure, that's fine. These are the virtual servers, but we always assign one of the configuration to the servers. Like for example, if we have given, let's say, 8 cores of CPU and the RAM is around, let's say, 32 GB, so this is what the configuration of all the server is. This server also has the same configuration. This one is also having the same. This is also having the same. And this fourth one is also having the same configuration. So all the servers are having the same configuration. And we all know that every configuration, every site has a saturation point. So let's understand that with this configuration, just assume that with this configuration, my cluster, my servers will only be able to handle the load of, let's say, 10,000 users at a time. So my 4 servers in the cluster are capable to handle the load of 10,000 users at a time. But what will happen if the load gets increases? Let's say one fine day, there is huge traffic on the application and the load gets increased by, let's say, 14,000. So usually the load is around 10,000, but on that fine day the load is around 14,000. Even it can go more than that as well. So what will happen, my current capacity, my current configuration will not be able to handle that load, because this is what the configuration can handle. So usually my configuration is capable to handle 10,000 users load at a time, but right now it is 14,000. So in this condition, what will happen? This infrastructure will not be able to cope up with the load and it may get down. In this scenario, there will be downtime. Servers may get down. There can be crash situation as well. And this is one of the business impact. The users will face the issues. They will not be able to use the application. So this is the business impact, of course. And how to deal with this? So generally, if you want to tackle such kind of situations, then you can cop it up with the help of scaling. You can set up the auto scaling. You can use the feature of virtual machine scale sets in Azure. And how the virtual machine scale sets is going to solve this problem. So let's say you have 4 servers in your cluster, and because of the configuration, if there is a load on this particular cluster and your servers are not able to handle the load, so if you will implement the VMSS, it will perform the auto scaling. And with the auto scaling, what will happen, if there is a load on the servers, according to the rule set that you will define, you have to define one of the rule set. So according to the rule set, if there is a load and the current servers are not capable to handle it, it is going to increase the number of servers. It will automatically add the copies of the server and the workload will get distributed among multiple servers now. So if there is a constant load, according to the rule, the servers will get added, extra servers will get added. And if the if the load get decreases, let's suppose now the load has been decreased because the load was only there for a particular duration. Let's say after 2 hours the load has been decreased now. So in that condition, these servers will get removed from the scaling, from the scale set groups. This is how the VMSS works. So you only have to pay the cost of the extra servers until then you have used it. Once it has been removed, you don't have to pay the cost of it. So it works on the consumption basis. For how much time you are using it, you have to pay the cost. If you are not using it, if it has been deleted from the portal, you don't have to pay the cost by then. So this is how the VMSS works, and this is what the scaling is all about. So if you go to the official documentation of Microsoft, here you will see virtual machine scale sets will let you create and manage a group of load balance virtual machines instances. And the number of VM instances can automatically increase or decrease in the response to a demand. So when there is a demand, when there is a traffic, the number of servers are going to get increase. When the traffic is less, now there is no need of extra servers, so the servers are going to get deleted. So this is how it works. So it is very easy to create and manage multiple VMs using the VMSS. It provides the high availability because your VMs, which will be created, it will be distributed among availability zones and fault domains. So it will be the part of availability sets. All the VMs which will get added as part of the VMSS, they will be the part of AS. So they will be into different physical racks. And if you want to opt for the availability zones, if you want to separate them into different data centers, then that is also possible. So you can use it for the large scale. If you talk about the count, so in a particular VMSS group that you will deploy, in a single group, up to 1000 VMs can get created. So if the scaling will happen, if the number of VMs will get start adding, so it can go up to 1000. So this is how this option is, you can say, useful for. So it works on the large scale. And if you want to read more about it, so you can just go through with the official documentation. You will just get the theoretical steps. And here it is mentioned like you can scale up to 1000 virtual machines if you are using the marketplace image. And if you are using their custom image, then it can go up to 600 VM instances. So 1600 is a huge count here. And how does it work? So there is no extra cost of using the scale set, means Azure does not charge for any VMSS group, but whatever compute resources you will host, how many servers are running in that scale set, how many extra servers will get added. So accordingly, basis on the compute, network, and storage, the charges will be computed. It will be calculated, but there is no charge for the VMSS group to be there. So let's understand more options, then we will jump to the practical. So we understood now what is VMSS. So VMSS performs two types of scaling. If I talk about Azure, so in Azure, it performs two types of scaling. One is horizontal, another one is vertical. So what is horizontal? So let's say we have two servers in the cluster. And now if we have set up the VMSS policy, so what will happen if there is a load on these two servers, then extra servers will get added. The copies of the servers will get added. And that addition of the servers are known as horizontal scaling. So when we are adding the servers, depending upon the load, that is horizontal scaling. And when the load get decreases, these servers will start getting deleted as well. So when the servers are getting deleted, that is again the concept of horizontal scaling. So horizontal scaling basically means increasing and decreasing the number of virtual machines in response to the demand. Another option is vertical scaling. So in the vertical scaling, what happens? We have, let's say, two servers in our group, and there is a load. There is a load on this server, and we have ascertained the load. So what we did, the configuration which these servers are having right now, let's say it has 8 cores of CPU and 32 GB of RAM. So with this configuration, we are getting the performance issues. Let's say we are testing some application, so testing team is working on the test of an application, and with this configuration of the servers, the performance issues are happening. So what we did, we increased the size of the server. We increased the CPUs and RAM. So if we are doing it, if we are adding up the configuration of the server, that is called vertical scaling. So in the vertical scaling, we generally increase the current configuration of the virtual machine. And generally, we use this kind of scaling in the testing scenario and in the development scenario. So when we are testing something, when we are testing any application, and if the current configuration is not enough to test it, if we are expecting any performance issues, that time we can increase the configuration manually. So that is our vertical scaling. But if we are setting up the auto scaling feature, if we want that whenever there is a load, the server should be automatically created without the manual intervention. That is your horizontal scaling. So in the horizontal scaling, we are adding the number of servers, and in the vertical scaling, in the same server, we are increasing the configuration. So vertical scaling is used in the testing scenario when we are testing any application or something. Horizontal scaling is the scaling that we used in the performance scenarios, in the production scenarios, when something is live, when any application is live, when any site is live. So in that condition, we don't know how much user traffic can be there. We cannot ascertain that. That is the reason the horizontal scaling will be the best choice in that case. So that whatever traffic is there, according to the workload, the servers are going to get increase. This is how it works. So we will understand both. Now there are two terms, scale out and scale in. So scale out basically means when we are adding the VMs, when the VMs are getting added. Let's say there is a load on these two servers, and if extra VMs are getting added in the horizontal scaling, that is called scale out. And when the load get decreases, the servers are going to get deleted. So when the servers are getting reduced after the load has been decreased, that is called scale in. So scale out means adding more servers when there is a load. Scale in means reducing the number of servers when the load has been decreased. So let's see this practical to understand more about it. So I will just quickly jump to the Azure portal, and here what I will do. So we can directly create a virtual machine and make it the part of virtual machine scale set, or you can simply search here about VMSS and you will get the option of virtual machine scale set. So you can define a group, you can just create one of the group and you can add the servers here. Otherwise, during the VM creation also, you can add it to the VMSS. So I will go to the virtual machine and here I will just create a VM. So I don't have any resource group. I will create it. And here I will give the name VM-01. It will be in the UK South, no redundancy. And this time I will choose the Linux image because I want to induce some artificial loads. We don't have any real load in place. This is not a real production scenario. So we don't have the real traffic of the users. So just to induce the artificial load, I will create some artificial loads here on the server. And for that, I will be using the Ubuntu server, the Linux one, so that I can run one of the stress tool and we can create some fake loads. So I will just use the Ubuntu server here. You can also use it in the Windows after running the batch files, but that will take some time. That is the reason I will use the Ubuntu. So in the real company, there will be real traffic. And here the configuration I will choose is 1 GB RAM and 1 core of CPU because this is Linux. So this is fine for the Linux to have 1 GB of RAM. And I will just connect with the server using the password. So I will set up one user ID and password here. So we have already discussed how to install the Linux in the prior sessions. You can refer them. Then because it is Linux, so it will be SSH22. Next. And one more thing. So here, in terms of the availability options, you have to choose the VMSS because we want to make this VM the part of VMSS group. So we have to choose VMSS, the virtual machine scale sets. Once you will choose the VMSS here, it will ask you to select your VMSS. So if you already have one VMSS, you can just select it from the drop down and you can add this VM into that VMSS group. But in my case, I don't have, so I will create a new VMSS. Once you will click on create new, it will take you to the VMSS page now. So you can directly search for VMSS and you could have created this one. Otherwise, I have selected the VM creation. So during the VM creation, I have chosen this option. So you have to give the name of your VMSS. So I will give VMSS-01. It will be in UK South. And if you want to make it under availability zone, if you want that whatever VMs will get added, it should be into different data center, then you can choose the availability zone. If you will not choose this, that's fine, because by default, all the VMs will be into different fault domains, into different tracks as part of the VMSS. So I will not choose it. I will leave them as AS. You have to choose the orchestration, how the addition of the VM will happen. So we have two types of orchestration, the flexible and the uniform. In the, if you will choose the flexible, so you will have the option, what will happen when there will be load, so extra VMs will get added and their configurations will be same by default. But in case you want to change the size of any one of the VM within the group, that is possible because that is flexible. So you will have different network interface cards and you will be able to manage each of the VM separately. But if you will choose the uniform VMs, so in the uniform orchestration, what will happen, the VM will be of same sizes. Whatever extra VMs will get added, they will be of same sizes and you will not be able to manage the configuration. NICs and everything will be taken care by the Microsoft. So we will use the flexible because it is recommended mostly. Then you have to choose the security type for all of the VMs. So you know the difference between both. I will go with trusted launch. Now here you have to define the scaling conditions, how the scaling will happen, how the increment, how the increase and decrease will happen. So here we have three options. Third option is generally good for nothing. It simply means that you don't want to add any condition right now. You don't want to add any scaling right now. You will just create a group. And after the group creation, you want to give the rules manually. So this is what this option is all about. First option is related to the vertical scaling. So if you want to manually update the capacity, manually increase or decrease the size, then you can go with this option. Second option is for auto scaling to set up the horizontal scaling. So I will go with the, if I will go with the manual one, let's say if I go with the vertical. So here you have to give the instance count, means how many servers you want to maintain as part of the default scenario, because this will be a cluster. So how many minimum servers you would like to have? What will be the default criteria? Let's say you want two servers at least. In my group, at least two servers should be there. Extra servers will get added after the load is there. So this is what it is asking. So how many instances, how many servers will be there? Let's say you want two. So you will give the two count here. Then you have to choose the size. What will be the size of the server? So you can just choose the size from here, and accordingly the vertical scaling is going to work. But we will go with the auto scaling option. I will choose the auto scaling feature. In the auto scaling, you have to select these options. So what you can do, you can just click on configure and you can give the rule sets. So there is a default condition by default. You have to just edit this one, and you can see manually option is still coming, means you can also perform the vertical scaling right now, but I will go with the auto scaling. So default instance count means how many servers you want to maintain by default, how many servers will be there. So I want to maintain two servers, that at least two servers should be there always. Then minimum basically means that if the load is there, if there is a load on the environment, so once the load get decreases, that minimum how many servers should you want to maintain. So it is recommended generally that whatever is the default count, the minimum should be equal to that. Otherwise you can go with below number as well. You can go with one, that minimum one server should be there in case the load is very less when the scale down happens. But I will go with two as per the real scenarios. So default, I want to maintain two servers. And in case the load is not there, still I want to maintain two servers. Maximum, how much maximum, how many maximum servers you would like to have? So I told you we can go up to 1000 servers maximum, but I don't need 1000 servers, so I will leave it by 5. That whatever load happens, the maximum increase should be up to 5 servers only. Whatever load is there, let's say I have two servers in my cluster. So whatever load happens on these two servers, the maximum server should be 5 only. I cannot pay beyond that. Suppose. So companies can decide the number of servers in case there is a huge load. If the application is very critical, if the server is super critical and we don't have any budget constraint, we can define 1000 here as well. So we can go up to 1000 increases, but in my small scenario, 5 servers are enough. So whatever load is there, it should not get increased beyond 5. Now we have to give the scale out rule. How the scale out will happen? Scale out means addition of the servers. If there is a load, so how, on which basis the addition of the servers will take place? So that is a scale out. And generally we define the rule set on the basis of CPU load. So how we are going to judge if there is a load on my server or not? So on the basis of CPU. So generally in the company, if the CPU load is more than 95%, or let's say if it is more than 95% or equal to 95%, then they consider it as load. Then they start adding the servers. But in our scenario, we don't have such load. So I will keep it very less. I will keep it, let's say 40% or 30%, let's say. So if my CPU threshold, if my CPU utilization is greater than 30%, then start adding the servers one by one. So if you will get two, so if there is more than 30% load, it will immediately add two servers, but I will keep it one. That if my CPU utilization is more than 30%, if it is greater than 30%, increase the server one by one. One by one, it will add the server. And here, the scale in means when the server will get deleted. So I have defined that if my CPU utilization is, let's say, less than 10%, then decrease the server one by one again. So I have given very minimum number because we don't have such load. In the real scenario, it will be more. It will be 95. It will be more than 95 as well. And you have to define the query duration. For how long the load will be determined. Means if my CPU utilization is more than 30% for at least, let's say, if you have given 5 minutes, so for at least 5 minutes, if my CPU utilization is more than 30%, then increase the server one. Please add one more server. So you can define the timings here, and if you click on the I button, so you can just read about it. So I have given 5 number here, so that if within 5 minutes, if for a period of 5 minutes, if my CPU has greater than load of 30%, please add one server. Again, after 5 minutes, if still there will be load more than 30%, add one more server. And this rule will continue in the same manner. And if there is no load, if it is, let's say, below 10%, within the period of 5 minutes, please decrease the server one by one. So this is how it works. We can just click on save. So I have given the rule. Default, we want to maintain two server. Maximum, it can go up to 5. And minimum, I want to maintain two server. The CPU threshold is greater than 30%, then it will add the servers. If it is below 10%, it will remove the server. So we can now click on save. Then we can choose the operating system image. So I want to use Ubuntu server. Then you can just set up the password. So I will set up the password of this server to log in because this is Linux. So we have to use the extra putty tool. Click on next. So these are some of the sport VMs that we will discuss in the future topics. For now, we don't need this, so we can just leave it. Click on next. I don't want to add any extra disk. Click on next. In the networking, it will create one of the VNet and one of the subnet as well. And here you can see one network interface is going to get added. So in the network interface, what you have to do, by default, when we talk about the VMSS, the remote is not allowed for the servers. The remote will be blocked. So you have to just edit this network interface card. And here what you have to do, you have to enable the SSH port because this is Linux. So we have to enable SSH port. If it was Windows, then we have to enable RDP3389. So I will enable SSH22 because this is Linux server. Then click on OK. So you have to make these changes here. Rest of the things will be as it is. I don't want to add any load balancer at the moment. We can just click on next. Then review plus create. So once the group is created, I will induce some artificial loads on the server. Then we will see the auto scaling, the horizontal one. So validation is successful. Click on create and let's wait for the deployment to happen. So as we can see, the deployment got successful. Now I will just go and you can go to the virtual machine scale sets after searching for the VMSS here. And you will see one of the VMSS group has been created with the name of VMSS 01. If you just open this, so this is one of the basic details. This is one of the flexible orchestrated VMSS. And on the left side, if you go to the instances, so you will see by default two servers are running as part of the VMSS because we have given two servers as a state. Both are in the running state and these are the sizes. See, you can see it is of the same size, but you can change them because this is flexible mode. So now I will just go to the virtual machine option and let me show you. We have two servers there and let me take the remote one by one. So I will go to the virtual machine and here you can see we have two servers. Both of them are running the Linux with the same sizes. So let's take the remote of this server and let me induce some artificial load. So two server will be maintained every time because we have given two as a default state. So you can just add the extra disk on all the servers from here, from the VMSS. You can add any extension. It will get added to all the servers in the VMSS. And if you go to the configuration, so you can see all the configurations here. And in the properties, you can just see the property details. So two servers has to be maintained as part of the status. It is in the fault domain 1, which is a different track. Now, let me take the remote of the server one by one and let me induce some artificial loads. So I will just take the public IP of this server. Let me open the putty. It is already installed in my laptop. And let me change the size of the background so that you guys can clearly see it. So I will make it, let's say 16. So paste the public IP. It should be on port number 22. Then open, accept the connection, and I will enter my user ID and password. So passwords are not visible in Linux. Enter. I might have added the wrong password, so let me add it again. So we are now logged in into the Linux machine, and here what I'm going to do, so I'm going to use one of the tool called stress to give the artificial load on the servers. So the very first command, because it is Ubuntu, so we have to update all the packages. So I will run sudo apt then update, enter. So now it is updating all the packages. It is like a refresh that you do in the Windows. So now it is done. Now my second command will be sudo apt install stress. So we are installing the stress tool. Enter. So it is installing it. Now I will give the artificial stress here. So I will send some random packet. So hyphen hyphen CPU space. I want to send 1000 packet at the same time. So every second 1000 packet should be triggered to my server to create some artificial load. So sudo stress hyphen hyphen CPU, put the load on the CPU with 1000 packets. Enter. Now it has started to send the load. And same thing I will do with another server also. I will copy the public IP and let's take the remote. So I will change the size. Connect. Now I will perform the same thing. I will run all these three commands. So sudo apt update, then sudo apt install stress, then sudo stress. Okay, the apt update command could not work. I just missed it. There was a spelling error. Let me run it again. Now I will install it again. So sudo apt install stress. It is done. Now I will just send some random packages. So sudo stress hyphen hyphen on CPU with the packet of 1000. Enter. Now it is also dispatching the hogs. It is also dispatching some random packets, and both the servers are in the way. So as per my rule, after 5 minutes, if the CPU utilization of my Linux server is more than 30%, it should add extra server. So let's wait for some time, and after that, we will again go to the VMSS and we will see if any extra servers got added or not. And even in the VM section also, you will be able to see some extra servers. So let's wait for 5 to 10 minutes. Just wait for the rules to work. So now it's been more than 5 minutes, and you can see one more server has been added. So VMSS is perfectly working. The load is more than 30% on both the servers, and that is why one extra server got added. So if I will wait for again 5 minutes, if I will run the same script here as well, so it will add more servers in the group and it will get added up to 5 servers as per the rule. So this is how it works. And when the load will get decreased, if I will just stop this uh, stress tool, if I will press Control C on both the servers, and once it is stopped, so if I will wait again for some time, so these servers are going to get deleted, means this extra server will not be available. So if you will wait, you will see this server will get deleted after 5 minutes something. So let's wait and let's see. Otherwise, you can just set it up in your own infrastructure. I have set up very small infrastructure here, but you could have set up very big infrastructure for the practices. So this is how it works. So this was about the VMSS, and it is very useful, practical. All of you should know about it. In case of any questions, any doubts, you can just drop a message to me. For now, we can just wrap it up. I will see you in the next session with the new topic. So thank you very much for your timing. Bye.